It's that time of the season, ladies and gentlemen. 12 races got us to this point. It's playoff time for the NAISCC Cup Series as we are at here, Charlotte Motor Speedway for the Charlotte 225. It's race number 13, the first race of the playoffs, where we got 5 races to find out who's going to be our champion of the season. It's going to be a fun playoff time for these drivers here tonight. It's going to be a round of 2 races from going from 16 drivers down to 8, and then another 2 races where we go from 8 drivers to our final 4 that will race at Homestead in 5 weeks. It's going to be a blast here tonight. Starting at Charlotte, we've got 16 drivers in the hunt. Starting off with Brian Johnson, the favorite of the season. He's got 6 wins and trying to get his 7th here tonight. You've got that of Zach Hall, another Cat 5 teammate with that of Brian Johnson. Another Cat 5 driver, that of Cedric Hunter. Then the RS Racing crew of Kyle Rochelle, as well as that of Tom Sidchek. They're going to try their hands at trying to beat out the Cat 5 drivers. Fifth coming into the night is going to be Max Foner with Vincent Sora. Still, Sora looking for his first win. Same as Max Foner with that of Danny Cochran and that of Sean Huckstutler. That's just 9 of the 16 drivers. The 10th one going to be that of Thomas Walter, who got his win back at Michigan, but he's got a tall task to try to get another win here in the playoffs. Then you've got the last Cat 5 driver that's in the playoffs, that of Brendan Pauley. You've got Ryan Bird, but then you've got Maurice Gomillion, Dakota Moniz, Jesse Thordick, and James Tremmel finishing out the 16 drivers battling for a championship here in the playoffs. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Freaky Fast Broadcasting. My name is Sam Dyer. Joining me a little bit later is going to be Robert Moyer, who also will be running productions here tonight. It's a fun night for the NAISCC Cup Series Playoff Racing Season 3, and it is going to be a fun one as we're getting the drivers set up here. Practice still underway for another 3 minutes, a little bit more than 3.5 minutes to go as we've got time. Big thanks to all of our sponsors, that of ButtKicker, Feel What You've Been Missing, as well as McConey Setup Shop. We'll talk about them a little bit later. As a huge thanks to that at Simbox Store. If you are ready to get your simulating games to the next level, grab yourself a handcrafted button box today. The addition is added as it sends to build with the gamers in mind. You'll have to, if you're trying to get yourself into the best gaming situations, get yourself a sim box at the Simbox Store. It's great for iRacing as well as other simulator games such as American Truck Simulator, Flight Simulator, Farming, and also Truck Simulator. I think you get the point. There's a lot of them out there that the Simbox Store can help you out with. As well, added in is the iFlag, which iFlag is an electronic flag indicator utilizing the Sim Hub software. Go check out the Simbox Store on eBay or get more information at Facebook. Simbox Store, you really push our buttons. Joining me here tonight, Robert Moyer. Robert, it's playoff time.
That is correct. It's playoff time. Like you said here, Sam, we got everything ready to go. We're going to start this playoffs here at Charlotte, and what a track it's going to be to start out, man. I don't know what we're looking for. We got our drivers. We got our top 12 ready to rock and roll, and looking at the lap times, everybody's on top of each other. So, the key is starting in the playoffs is you got to start out strong sometimes. You don't want to fall down in the hole and have to put yourself into a position to, get a win to move on to the next round. So tonight, these drivers are going to have to make sure that they keep their car clean and finish out this race and maximize their points that they can, Sam.
Yeah, we're hoping to see a lot of maximizing. Again, each round, a round of 16, the round of 8, to then going to the round of 4. The round of 16 and the round of 8, those are only 2 races each to have the best situation for yourself. That's not a lot of time, Robert, for these drivers, as the first round going to be at Charlotte and Richmond. I mean, that's a 1.5-mile course, and then we go to short track racing. How do you even think about getting in the mindset for just racing 2 races before we go into the next round?
Yeah, I mean, that's tough. I mean, the way they got the playoff system set up here, I mean, these guys battled, like you said, all season long to get to this point, and you only got 2 races to advance to the top 8. I mean, man, I don't know if I was the driver, I really don't know how to go with this. You know what I mean? Because I mean, you want to maximize your points, but I guess it's basically you just got to see how the race plays out, and if you have a chance to get that win, that automatically locks you into the next round. So we could see two drivers. You know, one win tonight, one win next week. There's your two locked in, two positions taken out of the 8. There's going to be 6 drivers battling, trying to, you know, make it into the top 8. So, man, I mean, ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned because this is going to be a nail biter season. I do believe in playoffs.
Absolutely. I mean, for note coming into the playoffs, we've got Category 5, that of Brian Johnson, Zach Hall, Cedric Hunter, as well as Brandon Cawley. Those 4 drivers came in, won and just absolutely in some ways dominated at Daytona, showing that they were going to be a threat early on in the regular season, and it's just been carried on. That team as a whole, Category 5 Esports, they've won 5 out of our last 12 races here. Just utter dominance from that team, and 6 of those wins goes to Brian Johnson. And some other drivers to watch out for: Tom Sinchek from RS Racing. He's got his teammate Kyle Rochelle. That Rochelle's already gotten a win, but Tom Sinchek's still looking for his first win. He's won the first 2 seasons of the NAISCC Cup Series. He's trying to make this 3 in a row with championships, but he hasn't won so far, and he's kind of going to be starting in a hole. 10th place, 2 points out from the top 10 in points. Our champ, he's going to have to figure out how to get out of this hole and be more consistent moving forward. And it's kind of been the factors of him being kind of taken out by drivers that have either been a lap down or kind of drivers he hasn't been used to running around that have taken him out of some really good finishes here lately in this regular season.
Yes, yeah, that is correct. I mean, that's something, you know, back-to-back champ there of Tom. Not getting a win is, I think, the biggest storyline right now here with these guys here at NAISCC. You know, I mean, that's a storyline there, Sam. So we know he has speed. He made it into the playoffs, so we know he has speed. We know he's got the talent. We know he's got the crew. We know he's got the car. Problem is like you said, he's not finishing the races, and it's some circumstances here or there, or you know, but he's really, you know, to move on. I think like you said, we got Category 5 that really dominated things, but I think the storyline for the next 2 races is going to be watching Tom, Sam. I think we really got to keep an eye on him.
Yeah, and with the playoffs being 16 drivers being able to make the playoffs, that means you had the potential of a lot of full teams going into the next round, and you had the full Category 5 team coming in, whole entire RS Racing team, that of James Tremmel, Maurice Gomillion, and as well Tom Sinchek and Kyle Rochelle. Those were kind of the 2 teams that we knew coming into the season that were going to be threats, battling one another to see who was going to be the most dominant car of those 2. But, you know, if we're looking at some of the other drivers out here, Max Foner of the 51 team certainly is a driver that has been kind of a shock in my eyes, but he's been super consistent this season, coming in with 2 top 5s, 7 top 10s, and that consistency put him 5th in points coming into the playoffs. So Max Foner, he might not have a win yet for that 51, but he's the highest of the drivers points-wise that don't have a win yet. Excited to see that driver, as well as Danny Cochran. That 2 team, they're going to be coming up also with a pretty good shot, 7th in points. And for that of Danny Cochran, had one of his best finishes last week, trying to carry on that momentum for that team. He's got 2 top 5s, 6 top 10s. Drivers just coming in and knowing the pressure's there. But there's some drivers that are outside of the playoffs that are going to be trying to kind of snuff out and kind of steal away a win if possible. Again, there's a win in your in system in for these drivers. So there's a lot of pressure here tonight. If you're one of the drivers further down in the points, such as Jesse Thordick, James Tremmel, Dakota Moniz, or Maurice Gomillion, a win might have to be on your eyes here tonight if you've got the speed to be up front. But non-playoff drivers, got to look at Jacob Morris as well as Nick Crawford. Those 2 drivers, they have been finding a lot of speed lately in these last 2 races.
That's true. So we'll have to see how these play out. Looks like we're gonna have a total of what do we got here? 23, 24, 25 drivers.
Yeah, potential of 25 drivers. There were some drivers that showed up here today we haven't seen since the beginning of the year. Playoffs come around, drivers want to show up, and more drivers that show up during playoff times means more opportunities for drivers further back to gain points, but also means if you're higher in the points standings and you have a struggle or a bad race, you could be finding yourself digging yourself a hole going into Richmond next week. As the drivers get set up, we're less than a minute with qualifying. There's a few drivers that are still trying to possibly put a time down, but it's looking like our field is pretty much set where they're going to be. And I was talking to you about this before, Robert. This is only the second race this season that we've been at a 1.5 miles. And those 1.5 mile racetracks have kind of been known as the cookie cutter tracks because there's so many out in NASCAR to be ran. I mean, what are your thoughts that this is only the second 1.5 mile race that we've been in just 13 races this season?
I'm shocked. I mean, I should have went back and looked at the stats. Do you even got the stats who won at Las Vegas when we went back there, Sam?
That was Brian Johnson winning. That was race number 11, and that race came to be kind of a pitch strategy error for some drivers. We had a lot of Cat 5 teammates such as Zach Hall and Brandon Cawley and a lot of other guys that were quick up front. There was an early caution within the first 17 laps of that race, and a lot of those drivers didn't come in for tires and found themselves a lap down. So they're hoping here at Charlotte the same mistake doesn't happen again, as we have our field ready to be put down. Starting on the pole, it's going to be Zach Hall, Tom Sinjak, playoff drivers already up front with Brandon Cawley in third place. Non-playoff driver, that of Jacob Moore, is going to be fourth as well as in fifth. That of Nick Crawford in sixth position finds the driver with the most wins, 6, Brian Johnson. That of Kyle Rochelle going to be in 7th place for the 1. He got his win back at Auto Club. We'll see if he can get win number 2. Cedric Hunter, who won back at North Wilkesboro, going to be looking to get his 2nd win of the season for the 13. Another Category 5 driver, Ryan Bird, going to be a little bit lingering back. About 12th position in points coming into today. Needs a solid run for the 46. In 10th position, we find that of Thomas Walter and Danny Cochran going to be in 11th, with Ryan Ferraro, the Professor Sean Hutzstutler with James Loveland, as well as that of Trevor Earhart, Dakota Moniz, Aaron Kralik. In the 18th place, we'll find Max Foner, Maurice Gilmillion, James Tremmel in 20th. And then it's some of the drivers further back there. We'll see how they can get themselves into the top 20. You've got that of Gregory Shaw, as well as Jesse Thordick, Nathan Soren, Mark Dingman, who we have not seen Mark Dingman since Auto Club, which was the 3rd race of the season. We'll see if the 35 has some surprising speed here tonight, with Tyler Dengler going to be finishing out our 25-car field. We're still waiting on Jesse Thordick to get in, and as well as Kyle Rochelle, both playoff drivers that cannot have a falter here. You don't want to be starting off of the grid, especially on your first race of the playoffs.
No, definitely not. But maybe it's strategy or something, maybe he's worried about, something happening in the first couple laps here, Sam. So sometimes that's a bad thing, sometimes it's a good thing. It all depends how it all works out in the first 10 laps. This track is very, very racy, ladies and gentlemen. So we're going to see a lot of these cars nose to tail, side by side, for the first 10 to 15 laps until the tires start, working themselves into the track and everything. So here we go. Playoff time, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully you're going to enjoy tonight's commentating with Sam Dyer and me, Robert Moyer, up in the booth here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting with these gentlemen. And if you do, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and like button. And we welcome everybody to some fun, action-packed racing.
Tonight, we're going to be having 150 laps. There is a stage break at lap 50 for these drivers, so there is going to be a quick break. Got word that the fuel window is around 60 to 65 laps, so there is no reason to come in for fuel during this stage, but you never know tire-wise what we might see from these drivers. This is, again, at Las Vegas. That was the key factor that left a lot of drivers stuck a lap down, kind of ruined their race. Again, big thanks to ButtKicker. Feel what you've been missing, as well as McConey Setup Shop. It's our setups, but it's your victories. We'll talk more about both those sponsors later on. But here tonight for the Charlotte 225, it's going to be that of Zach Hall, Tom Sinchak, Brandon Cawley, Jacob Morris, Nick Crawford, your top 5. As drivers are getting ready and set for the pace truck to pull off, and we wait for the flag to wave. Green flag is in the air. It's time for playoff racing. The Charlotte 225 is underway in Season 3 playoffs. It's set to go. Thompson check going to be a great run on the outside. But just like you said, Robert, side by side immediately for these drivers as it comes to Zach Hall just trying to hold down low. Drivers are going to be a little bit of slipping and sliding here early on. As Robert, those tires, it might take a while for them to finally heat up.
Yeah, it's going to take about 3 to 4 laps there, Sam, for them tires to heat up. And once they do and get up the pressure and sticking, we'll find out what the low line can do and what the top line can do. But right now, early in this race, Tom is going to take over the lead going down into turn number 1 for the first time in the 150 laps, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully you get excited as we do got side by. Look at that. I mean, I'm telling you, this is going to be knuckle-to-knuckle racing. Side by side, it's just, these guys are going to have some, oh, we got somebody into the wall.
In the wall further back, that's Nathan Soren in the 05. Gets into the outside wall and looked like that was just a solo car incident as more drivers trying to get themselves straight and in line. And in top 3, a little bit of a shakeup. Thompson, Chica Morris. That is Brian Johnson going to be your top 3. Zach Hall, Cedric Hunter going to be in 4th and 5th position. But Jacob Morris, he wants to get up front, trying the outside line, but here comes that of Johnson, going to be on the inside. That 28 car has been so dominant all season long and trying to go for win number 7, which, I mean, it's incredible to see that of Brian Johnson during the regular season. He won half of the regular season races coming into the playoffs, the odds-on favorite for the 28, but there's a lot of pressure, especially with the playoffs being only 2 races for the round 1 and round 2 to set up our championship 4 race. I mean, right now, Robert, you got to think for these drivers, yes, you have a fast repair, but how aggressive do you really want to get here early on?
I feel you don't want to get too aggressive. You know, you got one fast repair. You got a stage at lap 50, like you said there, Sam. So I wouldn't be too aggressive. I would just take it easy right now. Try to get in line and feel the track out and see what, you know, how the track feels and what this car is going for them. Because the thing is, too, is as we go from late afternoon, early evening to nighttime, this track is going to change a little bit. It's going to change the way the cars handle a little bit. So it's always, you know, you go to any track, you always want to just try to get into that groove. As you see Brandon Colley just getting slide loose coming out of 4 there. And I think that's going to be, Sam, where the main battle is going to be coming out of 4. You just got to make sure that you don't slide up and hit the wall like you did. See, like right there. See how that thing just kicked out on Tom?
Yeah, I was talking to Category 5, trying to get a sense of how the cars were feeling, and they were talking about how this car feels extremely tight, and then it feels like it's pushing loose coming out of the corner. So a lot of tight in, loose off. The driver's going to have a handful here tonight. The car does not feel balanced, which means it's all on the drivers on how well can they conserve this car. Thompson check from the lead, now back to 4th, and he's got a train of cars on the inside, not trying to give any room to the 8. Their goal, trying to get by him, shove Thompson check as far back as possible. The 8 will always be a threat, as well as the 1, RS Racing. They are looking so good right now up front, but it's Category 5 that are trying to solidify the top 5. It's Chica Morris and Thompson check, Cal Rochelle. Those 3, they're being sworn by Category 5 drivers.
Yeah, they're not getting away. As you can see, Kyle Rochelle there side by side with Brandon Colley working the inside, trying to get down the backstretch as his teammate Cedric Hunter is going to push Kyle up into turn 3 and 4. But I'm telling you, you said it earlier there, Sam, Jacob Morris is looking very, very strong.
Yeah, Jacob Morris, he just found another, I mean, he was quick last season, found himself into the playoffs, missed out this season just because he wasn't there for enough races, but the 23 certainly had a lot of pace last week, just could not get the win as teammates side by side. Kyle Rochelle getting a little bit loose and pinching up on the 8. Gonna be losing some slight ground, and with the new configuration of Charlotte and the new rubber that iRacing's put on, it's kind of made the outside line a little bit more viable here at Charlotte. It used to be on the old surface, stay low, keep yourself on that blue line, but now, Robert, that outside line a little bit more useful for these drivers, and Would you say that the drivers are going to have a little bit more of a shot to use it as the night progresses on?
Yes. Yes, 100%. Eventually, you're going to see these cars migrate up to the top from the bottom. I think the best place to run is 1 and 2 on the top side there, Sam, and 3 and 4. I think low or middle is where you want to be in 3 and 4. I do believe you're going to get more grip as the track cools down a little bit, or the temperature cools down a little bit. I do believe that's where it is. But again, like you said, Sam, they did a little bit of iRacing, give them credit. They worked on this track up just a little bit more, and this track's always been really racy. And you can always work, look at the teammates right here. You can really work the high line, and you can really work the low line. So I think it just comes down to drivers of what do you feel and where do you want to run. I mean, you know what I mean? Because I know when I raced this a couple of years ago, actually, believe it or not, but I've always liked the high line going into 1 and 2 and the low line in 3 and 4. So that's about what I got on that, bud.
Yeah, I mean, it's all about that preference, and that's the one thing that you love about these tracks, such as what we saw at Las Vegas a couple of weeks ago, and here tonight. Drivers picking and choosing which lane is most preferred for our leader. It is staying low, protecting the inside groove, and letting everyone else behind him stay side by side. That's exactly what we're seeing. Cedric Hunter, as well as the 8 getting side by side. Kyle Rochelle going to be as well stuck on the high line with that of Brandon Colley. Everyone else just following suit. But Ryan Bird, as well as Danny Cochran, they're slowly getting themselves in the mix of things. Also the Professor, 94, Sean Huckstutler. We're now starting to see that evolution of the first 10 laps. Drivers being aggressive, drivers that kind of lingered back a little bit, starting to save their tires, and now using that extra grip that they were holding on to get themselves back in this lead pack.
Well, and draft does play a factor here too, Sam, a little bit. So these guys, you can see as you look at the number 2 here of Danny, he is starting to close in on them Cat 5 drivers as they're running up here in, where are they at, 6th, 7th, and 8th position. So he's about ready to pounce on some Cats. And here comes Ryan Bird. Look at the run he gets going into 1.
Ryan Bird, Danny Cochran, they are really making a move, as well as up front for the lead. It's Zach Hall. He's found himself side by side with that of Brian Johnson, and he is trying to make that 32 just a little bit quicker. He's hugging that blue line. He's got the momentum. He's got the space, sliding up, pass for the lead. Zach Hall to the point, as he's now got the RS Racing teammates, Tom Sinchek, Kyle Rochelle. They're now in 3rd and 4th in line, catching up to our front 2.
So watch them go down in turn 1 and 2. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to say thank you, everybody, and welcome out there. We got David Funko Medina. Hopefully he's going to be joining. He joins us every Saturday night there, Sam, on YouTube. So thank you very much, sir. And I can't wait to see you out there running with these guys here next season. It's going to be fun to see him out there. He's a fast driver, so I think he can put something together with against these guys here.
And we're always excited to see new drivers coming in each and every season. It just makes the competition so much higher. Category 5 comes in and just feels like it elevated everyone else to try to run a little bit faster and try to run these guys down. It's been a blast to watch. Looking at some of the drivers that did not show up here today that I'm kind of surprised about. Vincent Sora did not show up for tonight's race. He's missed on a lot of races this season, and another miss. And this might put Vincent Sora in a must-win scenario if he shows up next week. But that 15 team, they've been fast. Haven't gotten a win yet, but certainly has always been quick with 6 top 5s, 8 top 10s. And not showing up here tonight as drivers getting close to the wall. There goes spinning. It's Ryan Bird and many others being collected in the middle of the pack. And also you can throw in that of Brandon Colley involved. Contact for the drivers that were battling around 8th place.
And that was coming out of turn 4, I do believe, Sam. We do got the caution. We'll bring it up here in a little bit. But, yeah, I just caught it on the back end of the screen when it happened here. So...
Yeah,
second, ladies and gentlemen, and we'll see what we can bring up here.
That's Ryan Bird and Brandon Colley making contact out of turn number 2, it looks
Oh,
like. And you're
2,
going to see the
okay.
49. He has already come to the radio and apologized. He just drifts up. And,
Oh,
when you're coming out of the corner there's moments where you're trying to get back on the throttle and you kind of get into a limbo spot where your car just drifts on its own and you don't really have control of where the car is going to go. And for Ryan Bird, just got on the throttle a little bit too soon. And Brandon Colley involved, which for this
oh,
42 team, this is not the first time that he's been put in a spot where he's had to go to the back and try to recover. This is actually how his season has been since the
yeah.
start.
Yeah, poor. I don't know. I try not to pity drivers, but the whole season, Brandon Colley's just been a magnet for every wreck. I mean, he literally can run in the back and somebody would throw a softball at him and make him wreck.
And then with this caution, it kind of puts us in a similar situation that we saw at Las Vegas, where drivers had to choose, did they want to stay out or come in for tires? We're seeing a lot of drivers in the pit road for tires, but 3 stay out. Cedric Hunter, Jesse Thordick, and Gregory Shaw all staying out to stay out for track position. Oh, I don't know about this call. This seems like a little bit too risky to stay out, especially on the fact that we kind of had a control race to show you the strategy call of staying out when there was a caution at lap 17. This one's at lap 20. I don't like the time it's called to stay out, but you never know. Charlotte and Las Vegas, they are slightly different from one another.
Yeah, there's a little bit more banking at Charlotte, so this call here is staying out. I mean, if they can, stay out of the way, because they're going to get freight trained. New tires are always going to be dominant. I mean, that's just a given fact. We all know that. I feel if they can just stay out of the way, make it to the stage, they're going to have an extra set of tires than everybody else. So, maybe later in the race, this might all play out for them. But we'll have to see the difference. If they can stay up in at least top 10 there, Sam, eventually these tires equal out. We always call it here at Freaking Fast the tires plateau, where basically what I mean by that, everybody, is that they just equal out. So it doesn't matter if you got fresh tires or not. Within a certain amount of time, everybody's running the same lap times. So it doesn't matter if you have new tires or, old tires. It's just same laps as time.
And other drivers, with the fact that we saw some drivers stay out, others actually stayed in a little bit longer to get repairs done. Those drivers being Mark Dingman as well as Tyler Dingler, all going to be getting themselves a little bit more repairs in the back. Also, Aaron Kralik, Nathan Soren, Brandon Colley. We at least saw Soren and Colley's incident after the Colley and Bird wreck that happened. Aaron Kralik rear-ended the 25 of Trevor Earhart and had to stay in, get repairs done. And this is kind of the question mark of when you're at this stage of, hey, we're not even done with stage 1. Do we want to just stay out not stay out, but come in just to get the manual repairs and save that fast repair for later on in the race?
I would save the fast repair. It's too early in the race to be using your fast repair unless you really have to use it there, Sam, by really hard damage or knocked out the toe or blew the motor or you got motor damage. Yeah, the car's not going to last as long as you think, so you would have to use it. But if you can just get manually paired, that's what I do. As the pace truck ducks in here on lap 125. lap 21 of 50. Man, the race went by pretty fast, didn't it there?
And that's we're getting close to 125 laps to go. As we've got Cedric Hunter, Shaw, Jesse Thordick, all trying to get up to speed as fast as possible because they've got drivers behind them, fresh rubber, and going. And the leader of those fresh rubbers would be that of Kyle Rochelle, the one trying to get by that of Shaw. And here comes that of Johnson on the inside. You got a wall of drivers with older tires and a little bit of side-by-side action of drivers with fresher rubber. Shaw trying to hold down low as you're seeing the battling that's going on for further back in 15th.
Whoa! As
they are shuffling and dicing, and when you're restacking drivers with fresh tires, they just have this urgency of getting up front. Again, our top 5 will get those bonus points for finishing up front. So it's all about getting that track position now, getting a little bit aggressive. Danny Cochran taking the advantage of all that shuffling up to 4th. He's still got that of Hunter as well as Shaw, but he needs to figure out how to get by. but it's Kyle Rochelle leading the way. Shaw drifting up, losing a little bit of ground on the inside, might be forcing some drivers to go 3 wide as they are getting scattered and dicey. The middle of the pack, it's dangerous where they're at. Shaw still
crazy.
trying to get out of the way, but not able to, and they're bouncing off one another, and somehow they hold on.
How in the world?
Gregory Shaw was bouncing everywhere, and somehow the drivers hold on. I thought Shaw and Loveland were going to make contact, but luckily they didn't. We still have that Jesse Thornton, as well as that of Cedric Hunter. They're on those older tires, still expecting them to fall back into the clutches of that madness once again.
Oh, we're 25 laps into it. There are 5 laps on their old tires, and you can just see as we got Dakota, we got Cedric Hunter. He's going to get freight trained on the outside. And it's basically just saved. I mean, they just saved their set of tires is what they did, Sam. I mean, I don't know if it's, again, I know we talked about it earlier. I don't know if it's a good thing or bad thing. I mean, we're just going to have to wait to see how this all plays out. But they are still back here with Loveland and everybody. They're battling it hard.
Yeah, it's one of those things where the drivers kind of staying out. Yes, you're saving an extra set, but it's more like you're trying to save 2 sets while the rest of the field recognizing you had 5 sets to start out with. The first set was the one that you started the race off, 4 in pit road, and a lot of the drivers now are left with 3 sets left on, which based on if the race goes green, besides their stage break on lap 50, these drivers should only have to do 2 pit stops for tires, that stage break, and then in the middle of our final stage to end out this thing. So the drivers, they kind of had that ability of pitting when that first caution came out and still having an extra set.
Right.
If you're staying out for an extra lap, you're trying to save 2 sets, which is kind of an odd call late in the race.
Yeah, very true. Unless we get a late break caution and then it sets them up for, a good stint. But again, we talk about it too here at Freaky Fast. You save that last set of tires. You play that tire strategy game. And if something happens at the end of the race, what if it's only 10 laps to go? You can't use them tires to make up that much time on the track when you're going through traffic. So it basically backfires on you. You know what I mean? So you have to have like a late yellow with like 20 laps to go where you'll be able to really use them tires to its full potential.
Yeah, one of those things where drivers certainly, I mean, it's kind of similar to the fact of when you've got the fast repair, right? Like you're trying to save it just in case, and then you get late in a race where you're like, do I really want to put myself in that type of a situation where I have to fall back for those final 15 laps to use a fast repair or use my final sets of tires? It's a bunch of mind games when you get late in the race when you're trying to save either your fast repair or an extra set of tires.
That is correct, man. And I'm telling you what, and I don't know, ladies and gentlemen, are just seeing this. This is such a beautiful track.
Yeah, I mean, especially with the lights now kicking on, I mean, just showing off how great this track is. Charlotte's been putting a lot of work, and I remember when they put in that giant big screen on the backstretch. That was one of the bigger shocks whenever you see it on the TV. You just see this giant big screen. I haven't been to Charlotte in real life, but man, it'd be a treat to see that screen and just this whole entire track in person. But hey, we get to see it virtually here on iRacing.
That is correct. Well, our pole sitter, Zach Hall, has actually fall back to 3rd position. He's 2 seconds back, and he's got freshy tires. Brian John. Whoa! We got Jacob Moore. Hang on to it. Look out.
Jacob Moore is coming back up. Dakota Moniz. Oh no! And Danny Cochran both go airborne.
What in the? They. Oh man, they need a medic.
Moniz and Cochran went airborne. That of Thomas Walter also involved in this thing with Jacob Morris trying to slow down but not able to. And they just found that one spot on the track that just once you pinch your car, they are going to the moon.
Watch this. Oh, Danny slid up, got the left rear, and man, Morris tried to save it. Watch this.
He tried.
We'll have to go back and ride with him.
That is gonna be some motion sickness if we ride with either Dakota Moniz or Danny Cochran. Just a warning for now, as we get to see the 2 and the 5, they're gonna see what the moon is like as the slight contact made between Jacob Morris and Cochran, both trying to hold on, and whoop, there they go.
Oh, whoa. Oh, what? Oh, Jesus. Oh, my God.
Coming right back down. That driver that made contact, that was that of Earhart. And, well, it's if you had yourself a game or two in that moment, you certainly would feel in those rumbles.
Look at the 5. He's upside down smoking.
Yeah, we had to take a tow for Dakota Moniz, and he's still trying to get that tow. And for some of these drivers, it is a must-use for a fast repair for that of Cochran as well as Moniz. I don't know if I'm going to have to check and see if Jacob Morris is going to be in a must-use for the fast repair, but there's a lot of drivers we're expecting to come in, get service done for themselves. Brandon Colley also, I believe, was involved in this incident or a different incident for the 42.
It looks like Thomas has lost his complete front nose there, Sam.
I'm gonna have to message and see exactly what happened. Brandon Colley might have had a electronic error. Something happened to the 42 that looked like it was not his doing.
I see.
Brandon Colley, his car got launched in. I think if we have the replay, this is an odd wreck that we're going to be seeing. He is all on his own and coming out of turn 2. Then on the back stretch, his car just drifts into the outside wall, which then bounces him into the inside wall. And I don't think that he ever tries to correct this, which is probably showing that his screen went black on him at this moment.
Yep. He got the deadly black. Oh!
And just the worst spot to hit right there at the kink on the back stretch where his car gets locked up and has to take a fast repair. Oh, man. I mean, has to take a tow to pit road. And now we find ourselves with 3 playoff drivers, all 2 or more laps down.
Yep.
And kind of touched on it. You cannot have a mistake in either of these races with round of 16 only being 2 races here at Charlotte and then going to Richmond next week. If you have a bad race, you then are put in a must-win scenario going into the next one.
Yeah, and unfortunately, it looks like, well, this race ain't over yet. These guys still got a fast repair, but they're going to be a multiple laps down, actually. And it looks like Brandon Colley is just completely out of this race, maybe? He's sitting in pit road.
Still taking the tow, so we're going to wait and see for another about 30 seconds, and then we'll see for sure if he's back in. Dakota Moniz and Danny Cochran both had their fast repairs, so just had to take the tow, and they're back out on track, but they are both 2 laps down. So it's going to be a long day for both those drivers. Going to need a lot of cautions to come out. Luckily, there is that stage break. Stage 1 will come to a close at lap 50, where we know that at least one of the drivers that's a lap down, as long as there isn't a wreck that comes out before that, they should be one of them getting a lucky dog position. The driver might think about taking a wave around as looking to see Brandon Colley trying to get some service done for himself as we are green. He's back out on track as we are green.
Oh, at least he's back out on track. I mean, you can try to, these guys now being 2 laps down, Sam, is like you said, it's gonna put them with only 2 rounds in this, this playoffs here. Oh man, I mean, basically, you got to try to get as many points as you can now. A win, maybe will still be in the boat depending on how the yellows fall for these guys. But they might have to be looking at going into Richmond and getting a win. Other than that, their playoff season is done.
Yeah, it's not good to be having yourself in a hole immediately, especially on the fact that this field is bigger than what it's been for most of the season as drivers trying to hold on, coming out of the corner. We're starting to see a different amount of drivers up front with the mix-ups of these cautions. James Tremmel up to 6th position and now up to 5th. For the 20 machine from RS Racing, he came in kind of in a backspace of not having a top 5, as well as Dakota Moniz. Those were the 2 drivers in our top 16 of points that got into the playoffs that did not have a top 5 for themselves. For that of Dakota Moniz, he's going to need a long, hard race to get himself back on the lead lap. But for James Tremmel, what a recovery for this 20 team that's having a great start here in Charlotte.
Yeah, he's looking good right now, like you said. Up to 6th position right now, second behind Kyle Rochelle, the leader there. Everybody looks like we're nose to tail going down the backstretch here, all the way back through the field. So everybody, I think, said, okay, let's make it to the stage, guys. Let's not race too hard each other and see where this goes. But yeah, great run for him. Hopefully he can at least get a top 10. That will help him, in the playoffs, or maybe even get a win.
Yeah, I mean, James Tremmel comes in, going to be last in the points. He's tied with 4 other drivers for that last position. So he's going to be finding himself set about 5 points out from the top 10. So he's going to have to work his way back forward. But it's going to be a long day for a lot of these guys if you find yourself further back having issues.
Well, 10 laps away from the stage of the race here, so we'll see how this all plays out because these guys can use stage points too, you know what I mean there, Sam? Try to use some points will help them in the playoffs too, as right now it looks like we got what do we got here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
4 of the drivers. 4 of the
in
drivers.
The playoffs.
But it's only the top 5 gets bonus points for the stage. So
right.
Only our top 4 able to get stage points currently is Crawford kind of being a block for that James Tremmel. This would be a massive points gain. I mean, just 1 point with how close a lot of the drivers are from 6th down to 16th place. Those 10 drivers all within 10 points of one another. So just 1 point would be massive to help yourself, as we're starting to see from the Hello Kitty machine. Cedric Hunter, he's watching the battle for 5th. That of James Tremmel trying to make the inside line work, but the 13, he's also thinking about getting some bonus points.
Well, that's it. I mean, these guys now are right now going into lap 50, racing to lap 50. As we're looking 3 wide back here with Cedric Hunter and Nick Crawford, and Cedric Hunter, whoa, what a move.
Cedric Hunter just went from 7th up to 4th in a blink of an eye. Now going to be trying to make that 3rd lane work again. He's just found the speed because he's got fresher tires than the rest. Came in on the last caution and got himself a set of tires. Remember, he did not take a set during that first caution. So with fresh rubber, with 13 lap fresher top laps than everyone else, he's making that 3rd lane work.
And that's what I was saying. He's utilizing them tires. He saved that set. Now it's going to put him right up to the lead. And there ain't nothing no one can do. Everybody else has got oldie tires to his freshy tires, and look at it, he's just pulling away 3/10, 4/10, and these guys are even in the draft back here yet, and he's still driving away from the pack.
Still trying to continue to pull away, and now all 5 drivers in the top 5 are playoff contenders. That of Cedric Hunter, Zach Hall, Brandon Colley. That's Brian Johnson, Kyle Rochelle, and Tom Sinchek, your top 5. Brandon Colley, he is all the way back in 25th position, 2 laps down with that of Dakota Moniz and Danny Cochran. All 3 of those drivers still gonna have to hope for something. Currently, Danny Cochran is leading those drivers. He'll get the lucky dog position once the yellow waves. And right now, Robert just looking at the field, all trying to get single filed up, but kind of no surprise on who our top 5 are.
No, we've seen this all year. We're on the top 5, but like you said, I got my eye back here. Teammates running, trying to get each other here for the top 5 in points, and it's you don't want to be nice to your teammate. That's it. When you're going for, like you said, the points are so close here, ladies and gentlemen, in the playoffs. That one point can move you to the next round. 1 point, which is 1 position, and you got to go for it.
Oh, here comes Jesse Thordick. We're not done with people changing because Jesse Thordick, same strategy as Cedric Hunter, just it took a little bit longer to try to cut his way through the field. Still has fresher tires and drivers in front of him. The 14, if he feels confident, I would say go 3 wide on the high side, like we saw from Cedric Hunter, but Jesse Thordick, he's got to be careful. Tom Sinchek, Kyle Rochelle, a little bit of contact there through 3 and 4.
Wow, little nosy nose, touchy side to side, but if I was Jesse, do what Cedric Hunter did. If you let them guys, yeah, there you go. Take the high side. You got fresh tires, and look at him just motor. Here he comes.
He's like a rocket ship for the 14 contact. Kyle Rochelle, he's going to be able to hold on.
Wow.
We stay green, but oh boy, the 14 tried to muscle his way through, and just the contact was not expected to see. Jesse Thordick, it's one of those things where you got fresh rubber, you're challenging, it's late in the stage, you're trying to gain as many points as possible, and luckily Kyle Rochelle is still running in this thing.
You just got to give Kyle Rochelle some bravos, everybody out there. Hit that like if you enjoyed that save, because he was completely sideways, man.
Looking at some of the other drivers now, thinking about poisoning themselves into the top 5. As the 8th, Tom Sinchak, he's got a wave of cars that are trying to get aggressive here. Jesse Thordick, he's going to be forced at 3 wide for second place, but just not able to hold on as they're going to be funneling into one another. Almost contact made. It's Category 5 trying to hold on, but Jesse Thordick, you can just tell he's got that fast speed with the fresh rubber, but just can't. It looks like he might not have the confidence to really place it on the outside and just send it. He's trying to make the inside line work, and finally gets underneath that of Zach Hall as we're coming close to lap 50.
Well, Cat 5 there from Brandon and Zach, they were blocking him there for a little bit. I don't want to say blocking, but one had the high line and the other one had the low line. So where does Jesse go? He had nowhere to go.
Gotta just put it on the high line. If you're stuck in that spot again, you got the fresh rubber, you've got the speed. You can carry your momentum so much better when you got fresh rubber than everyone else, but still side-by-side racing for 4th. Zach Hall, Tom Sinchek, and now James Tremmel going to be in the mix. And Loveland, he clicks him, and ground contact, we stay straight. We're now racing to the end of the stage.
Wow.
As the yellow waves, but drivers trying to be careful. Almost a wreck for Max Boner, and as well as Nick Holland. Nick Crawford, and oh my goodness.
How? These guys are wheeling.
Well, we made it to stage 1. Cedric Hunter made it there at least. I don't know about the rest of the field. It was a mad dash. Jesse Thordick going to be able to get 2nd place. Ryan Johnson going to be in 3rd. Zach Hall 4th. And James Loveland going to be in 5th position. The RS Racing team of Kyle Rochelle, Tom Sinchek, James Tremmel, they went from 4th, 5th, and 6th back to 8th, 9th, and 10th, losing 3 positions for all of them. And hey, it's time to reset, I guess, for all these guys and for us as well. Whew, pit road, it's getting busy as everyone's going to be coming in.
Everybody take a deep breath and don't be bashful out there, everybody. We got 16 people watching tonight right now, Sam. We had a max of 21 people watching. You can talk to us on YouTube. You don't have to be afraid if you're, if you can be able to hit a keyboard and talk to us about, whatever.
We are always excited to talk to everyone in the chat. It's a blast to interact with y'all. That's what's special about live streaming and interacting on iRacing is we are able to virtually talk to everyone through the chat and also get to watch great racing that's going on. Everyone has gone through pit road. Cedric Hunter somehow got up front for himself. What happened to everyone else?
I don't know.
I'm just looking back to see who had to stay out long. Kyle Rochelle had to take time for getting repairs. Max Boner still getting repairs for himself. Ray Richall still in pit road getting repairs for himself. Everyone else seems to be pretty good for the 19 or top 19. But this is a massive shakeup, and luckily for the drivers we were talking about that needed to get themselves a lap back, that of Danny Cochran and also Brandon Colley going to be staying out to take a wave around, so both of them 1 lap down.
Yeah, that's the only thing they can do, Sam. You got no choice. You have to stay out. You got to try to get some of your laps back, and hopefully, it's looking like the trend tonight here at Charlotte Motor Speedway is that these guys are good for about 15 to 20 laps, and then it just seems like we get a yellow. So maybe, hopefully, Brandon Colley's thinking, I stay out. I don't go a lap down. I can stay out with 15, the next 15 laps to 20 laps and hoping that a yellow comes out. You know what I mean? And that's, you know, he's got the speed for it. He's got the tires to do it. He's just got to hope that it happens. And the trend right now, like I said, Sam, is it's happening. So.
Yeah, and you know, I think around that window of 15 to 20 laps into a run, that's when we're seeing that switch for the drivers that were being aggressive, falling back, the drivers that were saving tires, getting aggressive, knowing that they can try to gain some positions with being a little bit faster.
Yep.
And that's where that little bit of a shakeup's happening. And if you want to find yourself saving a little bit of grip and maybe just enhancing your driving as a whole, well, we know that ButtKicker certainly can help in that factor. ButtKicker, feel what you've been missing. ButtKicker, it is a way for you to feel the sounds, not just hear them. As on iRacing, you can really hear when your tires are squeaking, when you're using up too much rubber. Well, why not feel when you know that you're using up too much of that rubber with your Gamer 2? And while you're going to ButtKicker buying your Gamer 2, use the promo code FreakyFast20. That's Freaky with 2 E's, FreakyFast20 for 20% off of purchases at the ButtKicker. Feel what you've been missing. Robert, I mean, we're talking about the fact that rubber is so important and drivers looking for that track position. I mean, so I'm wondering if later on for some of these drivers that tried to save a set, maybe they'll think about possibly, you know, doing a 2-tire strategy. Do you think maybe that could be a thought late in this race with maybe 5 laps to go?
Good question, Sam. Very good question. Possibility. I mean, I wouldn't see why not. Man, I don't have an answer on that one. You caught me off guard there, man. Good question.
We're gonna keep on throwing those questions out. If you got any other good questions like that, put them in the chat. We'll try to answer them as well. I honestly think that it might be too risky of a call to make, but with the aggression we're seeing of drivers possibly wrecking one another, I would say track position, being in the lead, getting the best restart you can late in a race might be the best strategy for at least getting a good point stay. Might not be the winning strategy to win the race, but if you're further back in about 15th, 16th, you might want to think about doing a 2-tire strategy if we start to see a lot more cautions building up. But we went from our 50-lap sprint to now we get to see what a little bit under 100 laps is like. Pace car is off. It's going to be Cedric Hunter, Jesse Thordick, Brian Johnson, Zach Hall, and James Lovell in your top 5. Green flag out in the air as it's time to see, can we keep ourselves green or will we get frisky like how we ended stage number 1 as Cedric Hunter already up front. Jesse Thordick, we'll see at the 14. He's on equal footing. How well can he stay up front? Jesse Thordick qualified back in 22nd position. So it's going to be a tall order if he could stay up front with these drivers that have been so quick all race long.
Hey, he's been the biggest mover of the race so far, like you said. So we'll have to see. Oh!
Contact. They're all 3 wide. They're trying to survive. Everyone's on the calm, saying, hey, let's calm down, survive. We got this. Just be a little bit patient. As Thordick Hall made a little bit of contact, pushing both drivers now. Zach Hall went from challenging up in the top 5 to now back in 9th place. Jesse Thordick falls from 3rd back to 7th. As now we got a full pack of our top 4 just pulling away. And Tom Sidchek trying to hold off Ryan Bird. As Bird in the 49, picking and choosing how well he wants to get to the inside.
Yeah, and right now Ryan Bird is having a great race there, Sam. If he's up to 6th position. He needs a good run. He made it into the playoffs, but it's been an up and down season for Bird, and he just needs a strong showing here tonight. As we got a little bit of smoke from somebody back there.
Dropping back, losing ground further back. Looking to see exactly that was. As more drivers losing ground, that's going to be Brandon Colley up into the outside wall, and it looks like that was Ryan Ferraro, possibly in the 12, having issues. As the field continues to race on, we stay green, but this is now multiple times right now, Robert, that we've seen drivers having issues holding on, but no yellows coming out. Woo, great saving for themselves so far.
I don't know what's going on with these cars there, Sam. I mean, these guys are all over the place. It just looks like they're sliding all over the place. Like, we're riding here with Trevor right now. You can see Zach Hall up there going through 3 and 4, and the back end just swaying like a rocking chair.
Yeah, it's just unstable. The car's just not pulling balance. So when you're seeing the drivers cutting down on one another, like we saw Bird do there, and O'Car having smoke up front, that's going to be drivers up front. That's going to be Loveland slowing down, as well as Nick Crawford. Contact between those drivers as they were up in our top 4. And it looks like that of Loveland. Crawford's going to get himself out of sorts, and Loveland also making contact. Both drivers losing ground when they were challenging for second place.
Yeah, I mean, these guys got to be saying, please get to darkness and try to cool this track down, Sam, because we're still riding, and you can just see the smoke in the back. Look how Ryan Bird is he's fighting that car. I mean, that car is just swaying all over the place.
And the driver now making the pass on the inside that we're riding on board with. This is Trevor Earhart, who has been involved in multiple little contacts with practically everyone at every incident that we've had so far. He's just been a magnet around the carnage, and he's been the innocent victim of all of that wrecks that have been going on around him. He's just been trying to avoid all the wrecks. Currently up to 6th place for the 25. But yeah, that's smoke. I mean, we're seeing the drivers getting loose out of the corner. This was kind of something I was told, is it's tight getting on the entry of the corner, so you got to put a lot of wheel input in. And because you're putting so much wheel input in, when you come out of the corner, your car just wants to snap loose because of that rear end just wanting to kick out when you get back to the throttle.
I call that bipolar.
Oh, yeah, completely.
That's
what you want, and we're good. Stay a little bit balanced. Drivers going to like that, and we're just not seeing it here tonight. As drivers that have been up front, drivers in the back, all been having issues, but we're staying green so far.
Oh, they're handling it. We've seen a couple cars side by side and like literally sideways. And but like you said, they're handling it. They're keeping it under control. Lap 63 of 150 right now, as we're looking at Loveland right now, back here running in 5th position with Trevor and Ryan Bird in front of them as they go side by side. Here, they're running pretty good. And then they got a pack going back here with Thomas Walter. He's trying to work his way up through the field. And right now, the biggest faller right now is Jesse. He's back to 10th position right now here, Sam.
Yeah, Jesse Thordick, who started up 2nd place when we restarted, but it's been kind of after the spill that he had with Zach Hall, now it's kind of conserve and hope this race just holds on. But you can see that damage for the 14. He's been beating around, but still holding strong as he's still staying low and trying to stay in the top 15.
They're battling in the top 15 here as we watch him battle side by side with everybody else beside him. So what are we looking at fuel-wise? Do you have a hint? What can they do on fuel here?
The fuel window looks to be around 60 to 65 laps. So around the time that we're looking for is around lap 110 to 105, maybe even 120 is the window where we could be seeing some of these drivers thinking about making pit stops. If you're going to see anyone short pit, look around a lap 100 to 105 on the drivers that are looking at that undercut. But for a lot of these drivers, it's get aggressive and be up front. And for that of Brian Johnson, he's loving the fact that everyone else is challenging and racing so hard because he's all on his own, 1.3 seconds ahead of that of Cedric Hunter. And Hunter's got a train of drivers behind him.
It looks like Tom's going to go in the 2nd position. Now that this race is, we're on lap 66 of 150, Sam. You're a playoff driver. Things are starting to settle down, it looks like, hopefully, quote, hopefully. What are you thinking? Go for the win? You know what kind of car you have now. You know if you have a winning car. You know if you have a top 10 car, things like that. So we're on lap 67. Where's your mind go now at, how do you play it? Do you go for the points? Do you try to do a strategy like you said, short pit and try to get the win? Or do you say, okay, I know where I'm at right now. I'll worry about Richmond now. Still finish the race out, but your mind goes a little bit into, okay, I know what I need to do for Richmond.
I think for some of these drivers, thinking about the next race might be a little bit too much. It's something where you got to just focus on today's race. But for the guys that are further back, like Gomillion, Foner, as well as Cochran, Cully, and Moniz, those 5 drivers are in a kind of a freak out moment because, again, we're cutting this field in just 2 races here at Charlotte and Richmond. We're going from 16 down to 8 8 drivers are going to be cut out of the playoffs in a blink of an eye. So if you're having a struggle already, you got to be careful of how much more of this struggles that you continue to have. I mean, yes, Jesse Thordick had a great run for himself, but we're already starting to see him. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 of our top 10, 9 of our playoff drivers are in the top 11. So if you're outside of the top 15, you are in a little bit of a freak out and kind of in a chaos mode for themselves. For that and Brian Johnson, Zach Hall, and Cedric Hunter, though, they're feeling pretty comfortable for themselves points-wise. As both for all those drivers, for that of Cedric Hunter, he's got a 15-point little bit of a buffer between himself back to that of Sean Hutzstutler, who's 8th in points coming into this race. And for Brian Johnson, he finds himself with almost over 22 points, actually 44 points of an advantage over that of Sean Hutzstutler. So you're feeling comfortable for that of Brian Johnson, who's leading this race, to move on just by finishing in the top 10, let alone him being up front and trying to win here at Charlotte.
Very well said. I'm actually sitting here looking at the playoff standings here right now, and like you said, a lot of these guys are looking really good. The ones that I think is, like you said, Vincent Sora, he was 5th in, sixth in the playoffs. So with him not showing up, he shows up next week. That is a must-win situation. He has no choice. He's going to fall out of the top 8. So somebody down here like Thomas Walter, Tom, Brandon Colley's having a bad race, but some of these guys can move up one position and put them in to the top 10. So like I said to you, Sam, when do you start thinking about Richmond and points and everything? there's got to be excuse me, I'm losing my voice, gentlemen. Anyways, there's got to be a point in time in this race where you got to worry about the points and start worrying about the next race. When does that happen? When do you go into that other mindset?
I mean, points was already a mindset when he came into today's race. I mean, it was always you need to finish in the top 10 if you're a playoff driver. Finish in the top 10 here at Charlotte, so you have your best opportunity. If you have an off race going into next week, it's content made. It's going to be that of Trevor Earhart as well as, oh no, they keep piling in.
Look out!
Oh no!
Arca brakes.
Oh no! Brian Bird, Trevor Earhart making contact, and a plethora of drivers all involved in that one.
Go back on the replay here and see exactly what happened here as I was getting ready to talk to...
Whoa, look at that aggressive move from Bird, trying to get low.
Oh.
And you saw there a little bit of an air gap. That pushed the 25 up. Thomas Walter contact as well as Thordick. Eric Kralik comes involved. Some more contact actually made up. I think James Tremmel and others making contact, but you saw that of Dingleman just nowhere to go. I mean, it's hard when you got a driver drifting down. It's one of those moments where you try to hit the brake and then got to release it at some point so you can start turning where the car wants to go. Because if you're holding the brake while turning, you're just going to go straight.
Just going to go straight right into the wreck is right there, Sam. But as that was happening, I was ready to say somebody's out on YouTube, and I'm happy to see him. Now, he used to hang out with us over on Facebook, Sam. And as everybody knows, we don't do Facebook no more. We're just a YouTube content broadcasting system, or whatever you want to call it, platform. But Bill Cooks is out on YouTube from Newcastle. So welcome, man. It's great to see you. I haven't seen you in a couple months. Hopefully everything's going great there, sir. And welcome to the other side where you get better quality on YouTube. You can watch this in 1440p or 1080p. Up to you, whichever you want. But, I recommend watching it in 2K.
Yeah, watch whatever your computer can handle so it looks great. Because I know if you have a computer that can't handle it or a screen that can't handle 2K or any of the other great ones, it don't look too
Or you get buffering because your internet says, no, I can't do it.
I just can't.
I
As
know.
with the
I
timing
try.
of this caution, yeah, it's I buffer all the time whenever I try to overload my computer or my phone. As that of Danny Cochran gonna be given the lucky dog position for the 2.
Oh, there we go.
He was finding himself 2 laps down, coming around right before stage 1 came to a close. Now going to be back on the lead lap. A lot of drivers getting themselves repaired. You got that of Aaron Kralik, Thomas Walter, James Tremmel, all have to get repairs. Trevor Earhart as well, trying to get as much repairs done for the 25, but I don't know if he's going to be able to stay out there. Jesse Thordick, as well as Danny Cochran, coming into pit road, getting service done for the both of them. But Robert, we're now at halfway. We've seen quite a bit of cautions. 3 of them have been on-track incidences. We've seen probably about 5 or 6 wrecks that could have brought out a yellow, but drivers were able to hold on. We now know after the halfway, the intensity level raises, and with this being a playoff race, you're kind of banking on the fact that you don't get contact from any car that's not a playoff driver, but we're starting to see these cars very touchy, especially early and at any point of the race. It doesn't matter if it's on fresh tires, old tires. These cars do not look comfortable on this track.
No, not tonight. These cars look just wicked loose, wicked crazy, like we stressed before, and talked about it a lot. And, we also talked a lot about the 2 rounds in this playoffs and everything. So right now, this is huge. This is huge for Danny. Puts him back on the lead lap, something that, he's a playoff driver, so now his playoffs hopes went from crap to, oh, good, now I got a chance again. Now for Brandon Colley, he is 1 lap down. Hopefully he can just stay out there and a yellow comes out and he gets to wave around and things like that. But we got Danny coming back down pit road here, Sam. He just made a pit stop.
Yeah, just trying to top off possibly here as drivers, they're outside of the window of making it. So it's one of those things of you're going to be about coming in now, going to be about 13 laps short from making it from this point on. Drivers trying to just top off, might go into extreme save mode at this point, especially when you're already in a setback of being further back in the field. Why not try something gutsy of trying to save a lot soon by topping off, as we are at the 1 to go. Everyone's stacked up. Pace truck lights are off. We're going to be going this time by. But Robert, we touched on this round of 16. It's Charlotte and Richmond, but it only gets crazier once we go to the round of 8. And I don't know who selected these tracks, but it's Dover and Talladega for the round of 8 to see who's going to be challenging for the championship race. We thought that Charlotte and Richmond was crazy. You haven't seen crazy yet.
Dover and Talladega. I mean, I like the way they have the playoff system set up. 2 races, and then next round is going to be 2 races. And, we went Charlotte, we go to Richmond, we go to Dover, and then we go to Talladega. Well, Talladega in that round of 8, oh my goodness gracious, that is crazy. I mean,
yeah. You could say madness. Green flag out in the air. As it's going to be that of Brian Johnson, Thompson checks. It's that of Cedric Hunter, Zach Hall, James Loveland, your top 5 as they go racing into turn number 1. Right now, your top 2 able to get in line, pulling away. Top 3, Zach Hall is pushing the 8, trying to move him out of the way. As now the inside line, they've got a huge run. Here comes Loveland in the 56.
Loveland just missed the playoffs, didn't he?
Yeah, Loveland was in a... Oh, boy, he's on the apron. He's slipping, he's sliding. He holds on. James Loveland. Woo! Another could have been a caution moment. A great save from that of the 56. But yeah, James Loveland, he was one of those very slim chances of making the playoffs. He had to win last week as well as get some bonus points of being in a certain window to be in our top 20 of points to make that win eligible. But got taken out with the final about 15, 20 laps to go and was not able to win last week at New Hampshire. But, still a very strong car. James Loveland, someone to watch out for. If he's still here for Homestead, might be one of the drivers that could win a race, but be a non-playoff driver to do so, try to snuff out someone else's shot. As up front, still Johnson Hall, that of Sinchek, Hunter, Nick Crawford, Kyle Rochelle going to be in 6th position. But looking at our front runners right now and kind of looking at the field, Robert, we're halfway through this race. What is something that's kind of been a surprise to you, and what have you been liking on track?
Well, as a surprise, I'm surprised that Brandon Cawley's still out there running after everything that happened. That's my surprise. If I was him, I would lay back, don't battle the field, stay where you're at right now, and bank on the yellow. What was the other question?
What have you been liking on track so far?
What I liking on track so far is just a hard-nosed battle and side by side. You know, these guys, these playoff drivers know what's in stake, and they're giving a little bit, but they're taking. I think they're taking more than what they're giving, but they're also just really great racing side by side. So that's what I'm liking.
Side by side currently now going to be single filed out, as that's going to be Sean Hutztetler now going to be making the pass, as Jacob Morris going to be trying to get by Nick Crawford. Crawford losing ground. The 11 just did not get the launch out of 2 that he wanted, and soon about to be losing 2 positions because of that mistake. But looking at some of the drivers that are now in the top 10, you got Max Voner, Maurice Gilmillion, as well as Sean Hutztetler. Those are 3 drivers that need to have a solid run for themselves in the top 10, especially with some of the other playoff drivers having their woes. Great job for them to be securing, at least hopefully, having some good finishes currently on track. As looking at this field currently, Ryan Ferraro, a non-playoff driver, great run for the 12 as he's getting passed by Dingler, as well as Nathan Soren. Soren, what a recovery for himself. He was one of the first cars to get into the outside wall on lap 2 or 3, and used his fast repair in 0.5 up to 13th place.
Hey, I'm just. What happened to Ryan Bird here? As
Timmy Cochran off of turn 2. For that of Ryan Bird, he was one of the drivers that was caught up in that wreck. He has some damage he tried to manually repair, so he's got some rear end damage for the 49, also a little bit of front end damage, so he's on the comeback, but it's going to be taking a lot of work for himself. Danny Cochran, who we saw top off, was marching his way through the field. That too, he's now got to take all those positions back, and ground that he just lost. More smoke up front, but I believe that is from when the 2 first made his slide, as everyone's just trying to hold on at this moment.
Trying to hold on. These cars do not like coming out of turn 4. Look, sliding up to the wall.
I mean, it's just out of the corners in general. Out of turn 2 is also where we've been seeing a lot of the wrecks happen for a lot of these guys.
So what would you do to fix that, Sam?
I mean, right now it's kind of just a steering wheel thing of if the driver's got the right steering ratio to where they can try to hold on and save the car, it works out. Otherwise, it's about getting back on the throttle and that throttle control. If you're able to pick and choose when you get back onto the gas, as the driver's entering these corners, they let off, and then they get back to the throttle down. Quarter of the way into the turn, sometimes halfway through the corner. It matters on how long we're into a stint. But the first about 5 laps to 8 laps into these runs, you're full throttle. You are maxing out as much as you can, and sometimes through these corners with these cup cars, trying to find the speed you can, which means you are going to have an ill-tempered machine coming out of these corners, especially with the fact that we were notified that this setup is very tight on the entry and kind of a pushing loose, meaning that you're going to be putting so much wheel into the corner, the car just wants to snap once your car gets straight because you're turning so much. You got to keep your focus on straightening out that steering wheel when you're getting out of the corners, kind of help with that ill-tempered rear end coming out of these corners.
Yeah, and it's just a lot of focus. These guys got to really focus when to get back on the gas, how much to get back on the gas, and to be able to hold this car, on a solid straight line. Like you said, getting out of the corners and getting that wheel put straight so you can get full throttle. And it's hard. It's harder than what it looks to everybody.
Absolutely. But right now, everyone's trying their best to make it look easy, as looking at the front pack, right now on board with the professor, Sean Hutztetler. Sean's running in 6th position and kind of in the direct middle of this train of cars that are trying to decide how they want to move themselves forward, and also trying to figure out when they want to come into the pits. as Stutler is going to be staying on the high line as Crawford's trying to make that low line work. And also going to be Jacob Morris in the 23 trying to make a pass on the 94. But Robert, we're getting closer and closer when these drivers might be thinking about making the pit stop to possibly, actually I take it back. My numbers are completely off from what I remembered because of that caution that came out and drivers made the pit stop. Fuel window for the drivers still going to be about 15 laps short. So the question of when do you want to come in and do that splash and go still going to be in the back of the minds of these drivers that are running in this line. And for those that are kind of just giving up the positions easily, saying, hey, if you want that spot, take it. They might be in a little bit of conserve mode. You can just put in just that drop. They'll be all right to make it. As we have our first DNF of the race, that's going to be Mark Dingelman, going to be parking it and no longer going to be running this race, which is going to be given a position to that of Trevor Earhart, and also could be given a position to that of Thomas Walter. Instead of a last place 25th position finish for the 57, could be getting a 24th place finish instead.
Oh, one position's better, yeah, because Thomas, I was just ready to talk about it. He is in last position. Is he out on the track? No, he's not out.
Yeah, he's out on track. He's just puttering along. He's got no front flips. Very similar to kind of what we're seeing from James Tremmel. Both those drivers kind of just we got to survive and be out here, get as many points as possible, and hope that our engine doesn't blow as we're out here running laps.
And he's a playoff driver too, so, and I believe he was right outside the top 8 in playoffs. So, I mean, he's got to just plug, like you said, he's got to plug along and try to gain, like you said, he's going to gain one position, which is 1 point. That's going to put him up to 24th position. And basically, he's just got to hope something else happens to somebody else to gain, a little bit more points. But his focus now is to go into Richmond and get the win. He's going to drop out too far down in points. I don't think he can point his way in.
I mean, with some of the drivers that are further back here, there's a lot of questions on where some of these drivers are going to lie points-wise. But again, it's our top 8. They get to move on to the next round. And for that of, Thomas Walter, one of the drivers that have won and actually got to beat out the Category 5 teammates. Won back at Michigan. Kind of a strategy race that worked out for the 57. It had some kind of high hopes that he was going to be one of the drivers that could move on at least to the round of 8 for Thomas Walter, but being caught up in that wreck just did not help the 57's chances here, and kind of just in a hope for the best and hope that someone else has some poor luck in showing, as if a caution comes out, we do have 2 drivers battling for that lucky dog position. Well, I say battling, but they're both a lap down, that being Brandon Colley and Dakota Moniz, but it's Brandon Colley currently right now in that lucky dog position. If a late caution comes out here, as we're coming closer and closer to the end of lap 100, Robert, we're getting closer and closer. And now it's kind of around the thought of, if a driver's thinking about short pitting, it might not be a bad call to try to undercut the rest of the field and come in to pit road. But at the same time, there's going to be someone stretching it out as long as possible, banking on a caution. So it's kind of a tale of two cities. Got to pick and choose which one do you really want to take.
Flip a coin. All right, that's somebody flip a quarter.
Just go out and just say Siri.
Hey, let's not ask Siri. I'm not an iPhone guy.
Go hop and just, if you don't got a coin, as sounds like leaders catching up to James Tremmel, going to be just getting out of the way. Is the 20 going to be trying to stay low? But got to be careful. We've seen miscommunication be very detrimental to leaders here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting, where just someone makes a miscall of where you're going to place your car when you're a lap machine to our leaders, and sometimes it's brought out a wreck. Luckily, our leaders get by that of Tremmel very easily, as the next driver they're trying to catch up to would be that of Thomas Walter.
Well, that, with him going a lap down now, Brandon Colley's got to catch up to him if something happens to get that lucky dog.
Yeah, and Colley's doing everything in his power. Certainly has the speed to catch up to the 20, as he's within about 5 seconds of where that of James Tremmel is currently. But now you're kind of banking on a caution. Please do not come out at this point, as we're kind of in a pretty good lull period.
Yep.
Want to give another shout out to our last sponsor of the night, that of McConey Setup Shops. McConey Setup Shops, it's our setups, but it's your victories. If you want to get yourself setups for cars anywhere from legends to cup cars, and also a little bit of a dash into the dirt racing of late models and lane sprints and modifieds, go to McConeySetupShop.com. Get yourself some setups. Use the promo code FFB10 for 10% off on your setups. And as well, while you're there, go to the www.McConeySetupShops.com and get yourself with some coaching. If you do that link as well as /coaching, you can get yourself coaching from some of the best out there. From NASCAR Coca-Cola Series iRacing Series champion Zach Novak, as well as his teammate Jimmy Mullis and River Hayes. You can get yourself coaching for an hour for $25 at McConeySetupShops.com/coaching. McConey Setup Shops, again, it's our setups, but it's your victories. Thank you so much to all the amazing sponsors that we have here for Free Fast Broadcasting, as well for the sponsors for the NAISCC Cup Series. It's Season 3, playoff race number 1 of the round of 16, as we're seeing side-by-side racing for second place. Zach Hall gonna get himself out of trouble there. Gonna have to back out, and now giving a shot for that of Kyle Rochelle to possibly make a move for the 1. Give it a great bump to Cedric Hunter, but Zach Hall, Tom Senchak, a little bit of a oopsie there for Hall as he loses 2 positions.
Yeah, something happened there. I think either he entered the corner wrong or did something wrong there, Sam. But thank you to everybody that's tuning in. Thank you to all them sponsors here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting and the sponsors with this league at NAISCC Cup. Man, thank you to all of them. But with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we do got pit stops here coming up very shortly. So what we're going to do, we're going to go to a quick commercial break before we get these pit stops rolling. And we will be right back after a quick word from iRacing and McConey Setup Shops here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting. So stay tuned for pit stops, and we'll be right back after this quick word.
want to be the best, you can't settle for the rest. There's a reason that Makoni Setup Shop is trusted by more virtual and real-world tracks and companies than any other setup shop in iRacing. With partners such as Stafford Motor Speedway, the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway, Five Flags Speedway, Speed 51, and more. When you want something done right, you go to the experts at Makoni Setup Shop.
With setups available for most series on both asphalt and dirt, built by a team of professional builders consisting of some of the top talents on the service, Makoni Setup Shop LLC has what you need to hit the track with confidence. Head over to MakoniSetupShop.com and learn why Makoni Setup Shop is the official setup shop of Richmond Raceway Esports and is partnered with some of the largest names in virtual and real racing.
And remember, at Makoni Setup Shop, there are setups, but your victories.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the NAISCC Cup Series. It's playoff racing as we're under green. Pit stops are underway. First driver coming into pit road was that of Gregory Shaw, as well as Max Foner and Nick Crawford, all making their pit stops. My name is Sam Dyer. With me is Robert Moyer. And Robert, playoff racing, this is the first race of the round of 16. Only 2 races this round, but we've seen plenty of drama so far here tonight.
That we have, and it's been great racing. We've seen a lot of side-by-side racing. We've seen cars going side-by-side and saving them without bringing out a yellow. So good job by them guys. But like you said, we do got pit stops coming up here very shortly. I would imagine we're going to see some pit stops here within the next 5 to 10 laps. These guys are going to come in and get 2 cans of Sunoco fuel for Goodyear fresh tires and run this thing out, because we're looking really good now here. This is the longest run they had here tonight, Sam. And so it's starting to look really racy. Now, I've been paying attention as we were under commercial, ladies and gentlemen. What is going on with Zach Hall? We've seen him bottle a little bit, and he's falling back.
Ooh, contact made between the 51 and the 16 as they were making themselves, trying to make sure. I think there might have been a miscommunication on who was going to come into pit road, as Max Foner as well as Aaron Kralik contact between themselves. But yeah, what you were saying with, oh my goodness, Bird and Foner now into the wall after drivers. And this is when things get tricky of drivers coming to pit road, is now you got drivers that come in with fresh rubber, closing rates a lot faster than what they were expecting, and you got drivers coming into pit road that you were not expecting sometimes. A little bit of miscommunication possibly made there. Playoff drivers, gotta be careful with one another.
Well, got to be careful entering pit road. Like you said, Sam, that is a tough place to enter, too. You know, with worn out tires, you know, that you really got to just take it easy and try to get that car down in there without, you know, like you said, hitting the wall or hitting somebody or just spinning out in general.
Yeah, and the drivers that are coming into pit road currently right now, a little bit of an undercut, a lot more than I was expecting. These drivers in the lead can still go for another about 20 laps until they have to come into pit road, which it's kind of risky staying out, because the drivers that are making that undercut pit stop, they're kind of forcing the hand of these lead drivers. They're going to have to pit here soon, probably in the next 5 to maybe 10 laps at most, because if you let the other drivers get too much of a lead, you might not have enough time to catch up to them.
And I talked about that earlier in tonight's race. You know, with that extra set of tires, you have to utilize that tires. You got to have enough time to be able to catch up with everybody that's got fresher tires. Like you said, you get that gap, and you just don't got enough time to close that gap. So you're in a window, and you gotta pit in that window. And I believe this got to be the next 5 laps here, and have the last 25 lap stint. I wouldn't go any farther than that, Sam, if I was, you know. But again, that's why I'm up in the booth and not in the car.
Yeah, I think 15 laps to go, around 135 to 136 might be the furthest that I'd be willing to possibly stay out if you're one of the leaders, because you cannot make it to the end. You're going to be finding yourself being 5 laps short, I believe, to make it to the end. Excuse me, about 15 laps short. So if you're going to 15 laps to go in this race, you're stretching this out as far as you can go, and kind of banking on a caution to come out to force the rest of the drivers behind you to have to take a wave around. Currently, right now, of the drivers that are 1 lap down, that's being led by Brandon Colley, who still leads the pit, but has been on the track to try to unlap himself. Same strategy that we saw from that of Danny Cochran. Luckily for Danny Cochran, he got himself back on the lead lap, but for Brandon Colley, he didn't get that caution that was so needed to get him back in the lead. Now Sean Hutstetler coming into pit road.
Exactly, but you talked about if the late break yellow here comes out and these cars just got to get the their lap back or stay out the wave around. Nick Crawford doesn't have to. He passed the leaders and he has set sail and he is gone. So he is one of them drivers. If the yellow does come out, he's the one that's getting that gap going there, Sam.
Yeah, he was one of the drivers that pitted about 10 laps ago. The extreme undercut of everyone else. So
he's gone.
He's gone right now, but he certainly has drivers that are trying to run him down currently. First of those would be Jesse Thordick, but that gap between 9th and 10th is about 13 seconds, is the difference between them. As we're watching second place trying to get by first, Brian Johnson is losing ground and now has lost first place. The 28, I don't know if he's just slowing down, if there was an incident. I'm going back to see, but he's now lost the lap. Lost the lead, and now going to be falling back to second place.
I think it's tire wear, Sam. As Cedric Hunter is working on the inside, coming through 3 and 4, and looks like he's going to be able to slide up in front of his teammate, and he does. And look at this, he takes over the lead here on lap 125. And I know this Cat 5 teams are talking in their radio saying, "Okay, guys, when we got to pit," but if you look here, first, second, third, fourth, fifth are all playoff drivers, and then you got the 5 with Derek. He's trying to work his way back around.
Yeah, Dakota Moniz in the 5. He's currently at 20th place, 3 laps down, trying to unlap himself to be only 2 laps down. He had already pitted, so you're seeing that difference of tires compared to our leaders, and it's so difficult being a lap down car on trying to be aggressive and trying to lap yourself while also trying not to wreck anyone. When you're so close to one another, one slip up can be costly, not just to yourself, but the drivers around you.
I'm not sure what happened to that 28 car, like you said, Sam, but he has fallen off hard. Something's not right with that 28 car, unfortunately, but I think it's time for these guys to soon come. I'm shocked that they're staying out this long. Wow.
They can stay out for another 10 to 15 laps, so they can still stay out there for a little bit.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I thought they would have pitted by now.
Yeah, it would have made sense. If you're with all the cars that have undercut already, it would make sense to already pit, so those drivers want to get that advantage over you as much. But we're starting to see drivers picking and choosing how they want to come into pit road, and with Dakota Moniz now cutting his way through our lead pack, could be forcing some drivers to not be able to come into pit road, but we're still waiting for our front. We still have a lot of drivers to come into pit road, but Nick Crawford has already moved up to 7th place. Yeah. He's only 25.2 seconds back. That's going to be interesting, though, for those drivers. Jess Dordick is now trying to unlap himself, currently up to 9th place, and doing a pretty good job of trying to just keep himself being the first car 1 lap down.
Yeah, this is getting very, very interesting. Okay. All right, maybe. Are we wrong on fuel mileage? Can they make it?
I don't think they can make it, but based on how slow they're running, could be thinking about just trying to save fuel possibly here, as they were going to be about 10 laps shy. We didn't watch and see if they were trying to save fuel under pacing the last time they came into pit road, but I know a lot of drivers were thinking about coming in, getting a splash, but all those drivers that made a splash with the 1 to go marker, they've already all pitted. As here comes Eric Kralik, also Cedric Hunter into pit road, and no, Kyle Rochelle keeps himself off the barrier, but
wow,
that could be a penalty for an unsafe pit entry. Got to keep our eye out on the 1 if he is to be held longer than 14 seconds.
Wow. I mean, Bravo's on the save, but holy mackerel, I think he needs to change the diapers.
Oh, yeah. There were a couple of people here tonight that were wearing their brown suits, that is for sure.
Wow. Well, like you said, we're going to wait and see. He's in pit road right now. He's getting 4 tires. He's getting his left tires put on here. And, no. He's coming out.
He was not penalized, was the one. That is a massive... Woo! I thought for sure with how he was sliding in, an unsafe pit entry penalty could have been there, but now Zach Hall in the lead as Tom Sinchek and Brian Johnson both coming into pit road at the same time. As now Zach Hall, last driver to be staying out. And again, he could stay out for another 6 laps if he wants. 6 to 8 laps. But that is just a lot of time to stay out for. But he's going to continue to just chug along, hoping for a late caution to come out and maybe find himself being one of the drivers with the freshest tires late in this race.
Yeah, did you just see that with Brian Johnson? Ran in the back of somebody exiting pit road.
I think Brian Johnson as well as Sinchek, they both were trying to get going, and Brian Johnson did not like how slow the 8 was going to get back up to speed. A little bit of wheel spin, and a pass was made while they were on the apron.
As here comes Zach, he's looking clean and and he hits the line.
That aggression level, knowing that he's going to get fresh rubber, just come in as fast as possible. That's why we saw him smoking in. He came in perfectly at 45 miles per hour when he crossed the line.
Wow. When
he was smoking at it. So now the lead going to be given to that of Nick Crawford, with that of Jacob Morris behind himself. And right now, Jacob Morris, some of the freshest rubber out here. Cedric Hunter in 7th place. He's also going to be trying to make a huge climb for the 13, but there's a light yellow.
No.
Oh, no. Tom Sinchek looks to be the cause of this one. There's other drivers having contact, but Tom Sinchek once again involved in an incident, and this one is another flip in the air. A massive wreck.
I was ready to say the trend here with these guys on Saturday night is 15 laps to go. We have a yellow. Well, we got it on 18 there, Sam. 18. So the trend continues here with these gentlemen. But, yeah, we got the replay here of Tom. We'll go back and look at it and see exactly what happened here.
We had astronauts earlier in the night. Well, Tom Sinchek wanted to give it a try for himself. Going to be forcing it 3 wide between that of Brian Johnson, getting through easily, but Sinchek sliding. We've been seeing that sliding motion, just gets loose, comes down into Soren and back up to Max Foner. Luckily, there is a catch fence there that put him back on the racing surface. But
wow.
Hey, let's give him at least an 8.5, if not a 9 on the landing for sticking that thing. But going up into the air again.
I want to ride cockpit or ride. Here we go. Let's ride this, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get seasick a little bit.
Sorry for all those that have motion sickness while watching videos.
Warning
now, close your eyes for the next couple of seconds here. As you're going to see the 8 just get loose and just try to hold on and nowhere to go.
And watch this. Oh my goodness.
And Lance.
You know what? That kind of got me a little dizzy.
A little bit. A little bit of, what are we going to see next? As drivers got to pick and choose. If you've got a set left.
Now what?
If you got a set, do you come in? As we're going to be coming to, once we go green, less than 15 laps to go. We saw Cedric Hunter make that 30 wide move of him just flying through the field. It might be another call if you've got a set here and you're in the back of the pack. You could find yourself flying through this field. The driver with the freshest
somebody just blew up.
Is going to be that of Zach Hall, and I believe the driver that blew up, looking back, might have been Max, and it was Max Foner, 51, blowing up. And Max is just, this has not been Max's day. He's been caught up in multiple incidences, and Ryan Bird coming in to be a hero to push the 51 to his pit box. Shaw was thinking about as well, helping out in that, giving some emotional support as the 66 is behind the 49 as they are getting a shove into pit road. You gotta love it when drivers are helping one another out, but man, that is frustrating late in a race to seeing a driver that's been kind of an innocent victim in a lot of these wrecks. Seeing his race go up in smoke.
Well, I think we got Nick's girlfriend out on YouTube. I'm not sure. I do apologize. Either wife or girlfriend. I'm not sure. Let me know. I know Nick for a very long time, so it's good to see her joining in out there on YouTube. But man, I'm telling you, these playoffs, though, I'm not even going to try to keep track of it anymore. I mean, we got drivers that are in the playoffs that are just having a bad night.
Yeah. Yeah, our top 8 in points currently, where they run on track currently. This is based on where the drivers are running currently, not based off of the points. But the 8 drivers of the 16, we've got in our top 12 are 8 of the 16. Vincent Sora did not show up for today's race, so we know one of those drivers was not going to be in the field. But with that wreck that happened at 8, Tom Sinchek, he is actually also going to be taking a park and DNF for the 8. That's another position for Thomas Walter. He's already grabbed 2, about to grab 3 just for puttering along.
It's unreal, and I do apologize. It's his sister. Okay, I apologize. Thank you for clarifying that with me, not his wife or sister. Oh, my goodness gracious. Hey, don't, Sam, now be nice. Come on, man.
We don't know.
Oh, I know he's married. I do, yeah, because Brian Johnson went to his wedding. Duh, I should know that. Stop laughing at me.
Baseball lights are off. We're gonna be going this stuff by. It's Nick Crawford up front, but he is on much older tires than the rest of the field. Nick was banking on this race to continue to stay green. He is now a sitting duck for the 11.
Yep.
Hopes to maybe finish in the top 15, but Nick is not a playoff driver, nor is the guy on his outside, Jacob Morris. He is on pretty fresh tires compared to those that are in the top 6. But still, there are a lot of drivers behind him that look hungry with the freshest of rubber. And then you've got that of Hut Stutler, Jesse Thordick, Maurice Gomillion, and Cedric Hunter. Hunter is probably my favorite. Also Brian Johnson. Both those drivers, fresh rubber, and they are within the top 10. Ones to watch out for, as well as Kyle Rochelle. But we've already seen some of our favorites up front. They've gotten loose, gotten out of sorts. The tires have cooled down. We've had ourselves a couple of scary situations, got a couple of massive wrecks. But Robert, we're getting ready to go and try to finish out first race of the playoffs for the round of 16. There's only 2 races in the round of 16, so if you're having a bad showing here tonight, tough luck. You've only got one other race to move on to the next round. Nick Crawford, Jacob Morris, green flag in the air, as it is time to see who's going to get it done here for the Charlotte 225 as they're side by side heading to turn number 1.
We got Cedric Hunter pushing Jesse right now going into turn 1. We got Brian Johnson underneath there trying to work over Kyle as they go 2 by 2 down the back stretch, Sam, with 13 laps to go. And I'm telling you, this is going to get heated up because here they come.
It's not over yet, and still drivers hunting and hoping for the best. Cedric Hunter, red spot thrown in the wall. Thornick puts himself on the high side, pitching the 13 into the wall. We stay green, but Cedric Hunter went from a shot to win. It's now they're wrecking in the back.
Oh, man.
And, Dingler now on his roof, spinning like a top. And just question marks go up. I don't know if this was on purpose. I'm not going to say if it was or not, but Brandon Colley certainly gave a little bit of a bump to the 05, and everyone was trying to slow down, not take out anyone. Oh, I take it back. There was no contact. 05 got on the apron and got himself loose, sent himself back up. Zach Hall, more drivers. This replay is going to be wild. Robert, we're seeing more drivers saying hello to the moon.
Really? Oh, no.
Yeah. Oh, it's crazy. Got the drivers 3 wide, 2 wide. You see here, Zach Hall going to be the driver that we're going to be seeing first saying hello to the moon. But you see the 05 getting loose, out of control, tries to overcorrect and doesn't work out. And whoop, let's go dancing.
Oh, my goodness.
And, that is a fabulous landing. We're giving that one for sure a 9. That is a solid 9 landing for that of Nathan Soren.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. If you're watching the Olympics, you don't need to. Apparently, we have the Olympics here tonight at Freaky Fast Broadcasting, where we're doing flips and dances, and we're going to rate who's going to win. Well, we're going to need an award after tonight's race here.
So I was concerned, right? If there was contact made from Brandon Colley and Nathan Soren, then we would have been seeing Brandon Colley not getting the lucky dog position. But because there was no contact, it took almost all race, but Brandon Colley is back on the lead lap, giving us 14 drivers here ready to race to see who's going to get the win.
And am I seeing this right? Zach Hall, is he out? No, he's still
Zach Hall still had a fast repair, so he was able to get back into his pit box, get back out there. But it was a scary situation for himself. Other drivers that are not having the best of luck. Tyler Dingler, who was stuck on his roof, had to take a tow for himself. The Soren's now on pit road, getting repairs done. And looking at the drivers and how, if they can get back out on track, that's great for them. But if we don't see the 05 or the 22 get back out on track, those are another 2 positions that can be gained by that of Thomas Walter, who is still just puttering along for himself as well. For that of James Tremmel, who's looking for more positions. Both the 20 and the 57, they haven't had a nose clip. They've been off pace all race long since they got their damage about almost, let's say, 80 laps ago. But they've been still out here recognizing, hey, we're racing for the playoffs. We need every single point. It doesn't matter how poor of a showing it is. We still have Richmond next week.
Well, you got to give Thomas credit. he's out here plugging around, man.
Thomas and James, both. Kudos for you guys for having the amount of damage that you've had and still running the amount of laps that you guys have been doing. Kind of like a Sunday drive, but you know you want to be running a lot faster here as drivers getting reset and getting ready to go. You got Jacob Morris, Nick Crawford, Kyle Rochelle, as well as Sean Hutstutler, Brian Johnson, Maurice Kilmillion, James Loveland, Jesse Thordick, Ryan Bird, Gregory Shaw, as well as that of Cedric Hunter, Aaron Kralik, Zach Hall, Brandon Colley. Those are your 14 drivers on the lead lap. And right now, the driver with the freshest tires on that stint would be, I believe, Zach Hall, who just used his fast repair back in 13th.
Oh, he does. The rate this race is going, I think he has time to actually move up the field.
Actually, I take it back. It's either Zach Hall or Gregory Shaw. I can't remember when Zach Hall's exact timing, when he came into pit road, but Shaw was pretty close at the same time that they both came into pit road. So the 66, also another driver to watch out for with fresher tires, but there is a little bit of damage to that 66. As we're getting ready to go this time by Robert. We've raced for 141, now 142 laps. We've had a total of 5 cautions that have been on-track incidences. A lot of possible that should have or could have been cautions. But we're coming down. Less than 10 laps to go. What are some of your final thoughts as we're getting ready to finish this thing up?
Oh, man, I don't know. My final thoughts are all over the place right now, Sam. Just trying to watch what's going on with these playoff drivers and the trend here with, the NAICC Cup. 15 to go, things just get crazy, and we're seeing it. It's amazing. What happens? My brain, I actually can't think about it. I'm trying to help you out and the fans out there, but my brain also gets locked like, oh my goodness gracious, what's next?
I'm looking at the tire situation, and there is only one group of drivers, that being Brian Johnson and James Loveland, that are on the same set of time when they got tires. Everyone else that is on the lead lap pitted at a different time. Their tire wear's extremely different. So the madness is only going to get worse from here as the NAISCC Cup Series Season 3 playoffs. It's round number 1 of the top 16, race 1. Who's going to get it done here as we got 8 laps to get it done here. Jacob Morris going to get a great launch for himself on the inside. Kyle Rochelle going to be following suit as well. The Charlotte 225 is green once again, but Ryan Bird gets a little bit frisky behind. They're going to be 3 wide going through turns 1 and 2 as they are 3 wide, almost 4 wide, and they are still staying straight coming out of turn number 2. Morris blocking Kyle Rochelle going to be going to the outside, picking and choosing exactly where he wants to go, as it's going to be Kyle Rochelle on the outside. Here comes Brian Johnson with a head of steam. Johnson, the freshest of the tires between our front three right now, and you can just see the momentum that the 28 has. But Kyle Rochelle trying to get his second win of the season. His first one was back at Auto Club for a third race of the season for these guys. The one certainly has a lot of pressure on him, as he's got the heavy favorite, Brian Johnson. He won the other 1.5 mile race course here at Las Vegas a couple of weeks back. And now Brian Johnson trying to double down at the cookie cutter courses. And also behind them, you've got that James Loveland, who's going to be trying to get into the top 3, as coming across the line. 5 laps to go for this field, and it is going to get wild for these drivers. 6 laps to go, as Kyle Rochelle still trying to hold on, less than 2/10, as Brian Johnson right on his back bumper.
Well, we'll have to see here, as Kyle Rochelle, like you said, this is a playoff driver, and you got Brian Johnson, playoff driver, and Brian Johnson looked strong all night. He didn't have the long run speed, though. You've seen him use that, towards Cedric Hunter, but right now he's all over Kyle Rochelle, going into turn 1 with 5 laps to go. And if he's going to do anything, he's taking that left tire, putting it down that blue line, trying to get a great run coming down the backstretch, and he's got him. He's just got to figure out how he's going to pass him.
Trying to find all the speed that they can finally muster up and in, as right now, based on the fastest lap that was put down that last time by, with Brian Johnson, Kyle Rochelle, James Loveland, those top 3, as Loveland now going to be making the pass for second place. Kyle Rochelle still trying to defend, and all the one can do for these final 4 laps is hug the blue line, defend the inside, and don't let Brian Johnson get under you. Force him to make the pass on the high side. If he can get to the high line and makes that pass, that's just a muscle move on his part. But if you give him the inside lane, it's gifting a pass to be made. As Johnson touches the apron, he pushes up through the center of 3 and 4, losing a little bit of ground as we're coming to 3 laps to go.
And Zach Hall's 2 seconds back here in 5th position. He's working his way up through the field too, pretty strong right now.
And another driver that's having a strong run right now, Gregory Shaw, now up to 6th. The 66, looking for his first top 5. The G Fuel machine, he's got a lot of speed. He's got that fresh rubber, and that's what's helping Gregory Shaw currently. But they've got a lot of work if they want to catch up to our top 4. As right now, Kyle Rochelle, that you can just see Brian, he's just pushing the car a little bit too hard, as we're now coming to that of 2 laps to go. Brian Johnson, you can just sense that he is trying to get so low, but it's cost him wear, as here comes Loveland now on the back bumper of the 28.
Oh, 2 laps to go. And you know what? This is going to be awesome. If this, for Kyle Rochelle, beating Cat 5 is a huge thing. Not only that, for the team beating Cat 5 is a huge thing there, Sam, because we've seen, as we go on the final lap, as Cat 5 was dominant all season long, starting off this playoff here with Aris, with their team. This could be huge, man. As Brian Johnson, whoa, he drives that thing in hard.
Brian Johnson trying to defend from James Loveland. Loveland, a non-playoff driver, trying to influence and possibly make the pass. Not able to get there. It's going to be Kyle Rochelle trying to get his second win of the season. His first one was back at Auto Club, and now starting off the playoffs, Kyle Rochelle booking his ticket to the second round. The round of 8 is going to have at least one RS Racing driver, and Brian Johnson coming up second.
Wow, congratulations. Congratulations to that team. Congratulations to Kyle Rochelle. Good job from the top 5 of Brian Johnson, James Loveland, Jacob Morris, and Zach Hall is going to bounce back into 5th place. And then we got Shaw in 6th. Cedric Hunter is going to be in 7th. We got Sean the Professor in 8th. We got Gormillion in 9th. And Nick Crawford leading there at the end is going to round out your top 10 here tonight.
Yeah, and our top 10, certainly drivers that put in a lot of work to put themselves in a scenario where they could get the win. As getting to burn it down, Kyle Rochelle winning here for the Charlotte 225. Starting out Season 3 playoffs with a bang, getting the win for the 1 RS Racing moving forward to the next round. At least one of their drivers, one of the 4 that made it into the playoffs, we know is moving on. Brian Johnson, with this strong of a run for the 28, based off his points that he has, all he needs to do is just show up for next week, and he'll be making it to the next round. Some other drivers to take note. A lot of our front runners that were favorites to be just a solid finish would get them into the next round had some off days, meaning that our really from second down to 16th is going to shrink, get a lot closer, and that means next week at Richmond, it's going to be a blast. As we're going to take a quick break, we'll come back to talk to our top 3, Kyle Rochelle, Brian Johnson, James Loveland. We'll be back in just a few. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the NAISCC Cup Series Season 3 playoffs for the round of 16. It's the first race of the round of 16, and the winner goes to that of Kyle Rochelle, booking his ticket to the round of 8. A massive win for himself. We'll talk to Kyle in just a few, but we got 2 other drivers to get to talking to. We're going to talk to first James Loveland of the 56, made his cruise up into the up front, into the top 3. A great charge for himself. James, it's Sam up at the booth. You got me?
Yeah, I got you.
Well, what a charge for yourself. Late in the race, a lot of cautions coming out, but everyone stuck on such different tire strategies. What was going through your mind on that final restart?
Yeah, I pretty much knew the top 3 that where we finished was we had the freshest tires, so I knew it was a battle between the 3 of us at the end there. I probably should have got by that 23 sooner. That's okay. He was racing for position, but yeah, I was a little late on that, and then I was trying to catch up to those guys, and I think I just got there a little too late.
I mean, James, I know this wasn't a win, but certainly this has to feel good after last week being taken out late in that race where you felt like you had a good shot for a good finish. How does this finish feel for you here tonight?
Yeah, it's a huge rebound. It was unfortunate what happened last week. That was 100% my fault. I got a little loose off the exit and caused that wreck. But yeah, this is I think a good day or a very solid day for SJT Motorsports. You know, Sean got a top 10. Trevor unfortunately did not get the finish he wanted, but he's been racing really good. He's just been getting caught up in other wrecks, and we'll get up there. We'll try to compete for wins.
Yeah, and speaking of wins, 4 more races left in the season. We got Richmond next week, and then we got Dover, Talladega, Homestead. I mean, for me, I would probably circle Homestead for you, but how about for yourself? Out of those 4 races, how are you feeling?
Yeah, well, unfortunately, I'm going to miss half of them. next weekend I'll be at the Watkins Glen NASCAR race during the weekend, and then I got something else going on the following weekend for Dover, which is my favorite track. But yeah, for Talladega and Homestead, Talladega is anybody's race, and Homestead I'm looking forward to. I know I could be up front there and compete for a win.
Well, James, it was a great run here tonight. And before we let you go, the floor is yours for any shout outs.
Yeah, shout out to the league here. These are very competitive, very hard racing guys. It was a pretty fun night. Shout out to you guys at the broadcast. Really, really great broadcast. I'm gonna have to tune in tonight and see how that race went down. But yeah,
As James Loveland in the 56, getting a third place finish here at Charlotte. And, well, James, if we're missing you for the next 2 weeks, can't wait to see you at Talladega.
yep. See you guys then.
And finishing in second place, the man who's been dominating most of this season, Brian Johnson. Brian, it's Sam of the booth. You got me?
I sure do.
Well, you tried for win number 7 this season. You came up just a little bit short. What else could you have done in those final 7 laps?
Man, I could have got past Kyle Rochelle on the restart. That was pretty much it with the I mean, we had similar tires, I think. And it was just a matter of dirty air after that with you know, when you're having to give it 100% there in the last handful of laps and just go full send. It's tough trying to get the run out of the corner when there's so much dirty air. So, I mean, I was trying and pushing, and then I made a mistake and hit the apron and 1 and 2, and then James out of nowhere he starts filling up my mirror, and so that last lap I realized that I didn't have any chance of getting the win, so I just kind of went in full defense mode and settled for second.
Yeah, and we saw, right before the green flag pit stops where all the drivers had to come in, we saw that you were leading for most of that stint. Then you started to fall back. Was just the tire wear too much when you had to fall back, or was there another factor that happened?
But it was kind of it was a little bit of that. I noticed that, they were slowly catching me, and I didn't want to pit on the same lap as them, and I really wanted to undercut them. So what I was trying to do was I was trying to let them all go, those 3 guys. But I think Kyle caught on to what I was trying to do, and he wouldn't pass me. Because I was trying to let him go almost every corner, and he wouldn't go. I'm like, come on, man. And then Cedric went, and so he went as well, and so I got undercut. And then I had actually considered doing what I did. I think it was the Las Vegas, and staying out several more laps. But I was like, man, with my tire wear the way it is, I don't know if that's the right call. And sure enough, the caution comes out within 5 laps. I'm like, man, I should have stayed out. But at the end of the day, I still still got a podium, so it's all good.
Yeah, still a solid finish. I believe with this finish, you just have to show up next week and you'll be moving on to the next round. So it's got to be feeling good that you've got that big of a points lead coming into this race, especially with the amount of wins you had during the regular season. How are you feeling about that next round? It's Dover, Talladega for the round of 8.
Well, I'm definitely feeling better about Dover than Talladega. Dover's one of my better tracks, and Talladega is just, what Robert says it's a crapshoot, and it, absolutely is 100%. So we'll, of course, we'll have, I'll have my team behind me, and we'll work together and try to get everybody a good finish, and hopefully get all of us through. Well, no, not all of us through. Maybe 4 of us through to the final 4. That would be ideal, but uh, yeah, Talladega, not a huge fan. That's actually one I was looking at my league race stats the other day, and Talladega is one track that I don't have a win at. There's a handful that I don't have a win at, so I got it circled, but I know it's probably not going to happen.
And we already saw you win at one super speedway this season. Who knows? The second one might be around the corner. But Brian, before we let you go, the floor is yours for any shout outs.
I just got to shout out my teammates, of course. We all do a great job of working together most of the time. And I got to thank you guys, as always, putting on a fantastic show. Everybody that tuned in, hope you enjoyed what you saw. And then all these guys that run the league over here, it's a great league to race at. I enjoy it. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
As Brian Johnson in the 28 Cat 5 machine, going to be able to get a second place finish. Looking good to be moving on to the round of 8 in 2 weeks. But Brian, good luck next week.
Thank you, sir.
And now we got the man who got the win. We know for sure is moving on to the next round. Kyle Rochelle up in the booth. Kyle, what a win here tonight.
Yeah, I can't believe it, man.
I mean, the pressure is now off for this round of 16. How does it feel getting this win, knowing that you're locked into the next round?
It's awesome. It's huge. It's huge for our team. You know, we were fast all night. Just it's tough out there. And thank God we're locked into next round, and let's go get them.
We talked to Brian, and he said that the only shot that he really had to pass you was under the restart. How was that restart for you, getting prepared to take off and try to be the first car of the freshest tires to be out front?
Honestly, I don't know if you saw our green flag stops. I dumped the thing coming onto pit road, and when we came out, I was gonna be like fourth. I was right behind Tom, and he wrecked himself, and I got caught up in it, and I had some front end damage, but I think it just added some downforce. And when we had that first restart, I got by Brian, and was like, all right, I know I'm faster than Morris. I know I'm faster than Crawford. I just got to be smart here and not wreck up myself. And once the second restart went, I just had to go. You know, just don't hit the apron and don't hit the wall.
Yeah, and we saw that spin. It was we were worried for you for sure. And luckily when we saw that you didn't hit the wall, we knew that you still had a shot. And surprised you didn't get a penalty either for an unsafe pit entry. But Kyle, moving on to next week, you know you're locked in. How are you going to be trying to help your teammates, if possible, to help them move on to the next round?
Well, truth be told, I'm not sure if I'm going to make next week. So
Woo!
this week plays huge dividends for me, and if it wasn't for this win, I'd probably be out of it. It's going to be tough for me to make it next week, but hopefully Tom's fast, and James and Mo had a good night, so we'll see what happens.
And sometimes you just need to get the win when it really matters. Kyle, great to hear that you're now locked in, because it would have been disappointing not to see you moving on to the next round. But before we let you go here tonight, the floor is yours for any shout-outs.
I just got to thank the whole iRacing team. You guys, Freaky Fast, NAISCC, everyone puts on a good show. I know we had a couple little incidents tonight, but it was clean for the last 100 laps, so that's good. And hopefully we put on a good show overall. I'm just ecstatic right now. It's pretty cool.
Rochelle in the one machine, getting first place, locking himself into the round of 8. Congratulations, Kyle, and go have a fun one celebrating this.
Thanks a lot, man.
Wild racing indeed. As we take a look at the unofficial racing results, madness hit a lot of these drivers here tonight. And Robert already kind of went down our top 10. And moving throughout the rest of the field, though, Nick Crawford going to be getting 10th place, Ryan Bird in 11th, that of Aaron Kralik going to be in 12th place, Jesse Thordick in 13th, Brian Cawley going to be getting 14th position with Max Boner, Ryan Ferraro, Danny Cochran, Tyler Dangler, as well as James Tremmel, Moniz, Walter, Soren, Tom Senchek going to be finishing all the way back in 23rd position. Furthest of the drivers that were in the playoffs for that 8 machine. It is going to be a long race next week. Robert, it's only 2 races per round. We're already halfway through now of the round of 16. The pressure is on for these drivers. We'll have a better look at what the point standings are next week when we look at it. But man, tonight was a wild one for my final thoughts, but the rest of the call is yours.
Yeah, I agree, man. It's Tom's going to have, like you said, a very, very long race starting next week. He's got to get the win. He does got some points, so we'll have to see where the points lay out. But I think he has to go into that race, you know, for a win there, Sam. And same for Thomas and some other drivers. And they're going to have to battle their way through Richmond next week, ladies and gentlemen. So make sure you tune in here at Freaky Fast next Saturday night at 8:50 when we head off to Richmond for their next round here of 8 to make it round 16 to make it into their next 2 rounds, which we go to Dover and Talladega. So that's going to be interesting to see. So don't want to miss any of that action. All you got to do is hit that subscribe button as we are on our way to 1K subscribers. And we would do much appreciate it if you do that. And also hit that like button here on Freaky Fast on this stream. It helps us out. And share it with your friends and families on any social media platform of your favorite. But until then, we'll catch everybody next Saturday. We will catch everybody hopefully tomorrow night with Zach Hall. And Sam Dyer is going to be with SRU tomorrow night at 7:50 here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. So swing on by, say hi, and you can talk about that race. And you also can talk about tonight's race if you want to in the chat. We don't mind. But until then, hopefully everybody has a great rest of their Saturday night. Have a great Sunday, and we will catch you tomorrow night or next week. Until then, God bless everybody. We love you all. Peace out.